Thank you all so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Let's start then. And Mr. Jain, I'm going to come to you first. We're looking at this crisis, which is, expected to lead to the largest quarterly decline in economic activity, they're saying, since World War II. An unprecedented 40 to nearly 50% decline in a discretionary spending. So how badly is the cosmetics and the makeup sector going to be hit? Are we going to see the lipstick effect, which is essentially when consumers spend money on small indulgences even during times of economic recession?
Right. So yeah, very, very important question, Avanne. As you're aware, L'Oreal focuses on the beauty segment. So if it's okay with you, I will limit my remarks to beauty and not just cosmetics and makeup. And of course, we've got some experts on the panel who will dwell more on that, I'm sure. So, the beauty sector, and if I were to, focus my comments a bit more on India, is huge, and it's been growing very well, close to a double digit over the last few years. What's interesting about the beauty sector in India is that it's got two big chunks to it. There's a care and cleansing chunk to it, which is hair care, shampoos, conditioner, etc. There's skin care, and skin cleansers. And then there is the more glamour color part of it, which is around hair care, around hair color and makeup. So what we are beginning to see are two, early trends would suggest that the care and cleansing part of it, given the fact that hygiene and health is suddenly becoming very, very important to consumers, is something which is likely to see demand which is sustainable. However, in the short term, as people go out very less, in fact not at all, and as all those wonderful out-of-home occasions dwindle, given the closure of the multiplexes and the spas, etc., clearly there will be a short-term hiccup when it comes to color, cosmetics, glamorous products. And I would emphasize the term short-term over here.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Mr. Bali, it's a very wide gamut. We're talking about cosmetics, facial, nail care, personal care, hair, skin care. In this time of a lockdown, which has been the sector that has been the worst hit? And would you concur with Mr. Jain, because he said as of now it's short-term in nature?
Yeah, I mean, I would concur with Mr. Jain. Actually, we've had this lockdown. We've had a very good phase till about Holi, till about the 13th or 14th of March. It was pretty good. I think the sales were pretty sound. And I think then suddenly once the lockdown started, I think it started tripping, quite because, not because of any other reason, just because of the malls closing down. And that's where we are. But I think when we look at all the segments, where, of business, which even Mr. Jain mentioned, I think within the business at Sephora, it used to be, makeup, which is the strongest part of the business, and followed by skincare and fragrances. And I think what we'll see now, and what we are seeing now in terms of, because of the lockdown, what's happening is that more and more people are also at home, and I think the indulgences on skincare obviously have increased and will show a good increase in terms of sales also once the malls start opening up. Makeup will always remain strong, because I think that's something which has become kind of a habit, and I think it's very difficult to leave a certain habit. But what we'll also see is, because face is being covered a little, you might see the emergence of eye makeup becoming much stronger, in terms of usage. Whereas today, face makeup is a very strong category. So we might see eye makeup emerging, with all your lovely mascaras and eyeliners and eyeshadows, emerging much stronger. And I think we might also see fragrance is going a bit slow because you are restricted to your residences. Once and you're socializing less, and therefore usage obviously might come down. But certain habits of people will remain, and I think
Right.
if you are a regular user of a fragrance, then you're used to it. You generally wear it for yourself,
Yeah.
so they might continue to use. So we will be surprised that these top three categories might actually uh, surprise each one of us in terms of how the sales performs.
Okay, fair enough. I will come to that point about brand loyalty a little bit later, but Namrata, I want to understand from you as well, because you at one time, of course, had your schedule packed. There was nothing but back-to-back shoots. There was celebrities, there was brides, and all of a sudden, all of this comes to a standstill. So a very basic question. There's a lot of makeup artists out there with the complete lockdown, the phase that we're seeing that people are in, where I think the panic buying is over, where we've seen, the pantry hoarding also over. Now I think we're in COVID living, where it's a focus on really, the luxury of time that people really have. What is now the fate of makeup artists like you?
I really think it's going to be online. Honestly, I've been teaching online for the last month. People, this is the time that they actually get to stay at home. They are actually getting time to spend on themselves. So I'm getting a lot of inquiries where I'm doing a lot of online classes, personal one-to-one classes online. And honestly, whatever I'm requesting them to buy, they do buy. But what's happening is that within India, I think all our online deliveries have come to a standstill. So even for me, like I'm constantly checking Sephora now to make sure like when are they starting to deliver, because I need to order a few products, but it's not started yet. So India is a little behind in terms of online, which we don't have a choice. It's a good thing. Social distancing is a very, very important thing. But like I'm getting a lot of clients from London and America and Nairobi, and everywhere over there, online shopping is at its highest, and people are just taking lists and lists of makeup from me and they're shopping away. So honestly, it is definitely going to affect a lot of people, especially makeup artists, because it's going to be the survival of the fittest. There is an influx of a lot of young makeup artists who've come in, a lot of young people who actually don't know what they want to do, but they're giving it a try. And, some become makeup artists, some become stylists, some become, different aspects of this industry. And this is going to be the survival of the fittest. It's going to be a lot of competition within the makeup artists once the lockdown gets over. And, what the favorites of the brands, who they want to work with, and what are the prices that the artists are willing to come down to.
Okay, I'm going to address some questions as well that we're getting in. And I think, Mr. Jain, I'm going to come to you on this one. It's from an anonymous attendee. Will Indian consumers change their priority of products and consumption basis on their routine changing during the lockdown? Or will they continue to stick to their previous routines? I'm just going to modify this in order to understand, the point of brand loyalty. At a time like this, if I say love, my L'Oreal blush, and I go online and it's not available, but there is XYZ brand that is, would that temptation to shift and just take that brand would be very strong. So do you see that challenge when it comes to brand loyalty for a large company like yours?
So there were two parts to the question. One, do you see change consumer behavior, and what are the implications on brand loyalty? So taking the first bit first, clearly as human behavior is fundamentally, activity at least, is redescribed due to the lockdown, obviously there's going to be serious change in how people with travel, entertainment, restaurant. Am I muted?
You were briefly, but now you're fine.
Okay, thank you, whoever unmuted me. All right. So obviously there's going to be a serious reprioritization. Yeah. And we will see different behaviors between categories. I briefly mentioned this with health and hygiene becoming paramount. Let's take a simple example. People are perpetually washing hands now. Yeah. So you will need more hand care. Yeah. Apart from washing your hands, you need to take care of your hands and you have to rehydrate them. Right. Uh, Similarly, I think Vivek mentioned it. If you're wearing masks and you have to look, your best presentable in meetings, uh, eye care and how you dress up your eyes become very, very important. In fact, L'Oreal is communicating around a campaign called Eyes Can Talk. Yeah. So one, there is going to be a change in category behavior, and there is going to be a much bigger priority around care and hygiene products. And so there are going to be some winners, and obviously there are going to be some losers. Then as it comes to brands, very clearly, brands and consumers, especially in categories such as beauty, have very, very deep relationships. That is because of the personal usage associated with it. It's something which is deeply personal to people, and I can see, Namrata nodding in acknowledgement, and she knows this better than I do. So in times like this, when there's a lot of uncertainty out there, you typically tend to flee to the safe harbor, which is brands you can trust. So I know some people might not like what I'm saying, but clearly the brands which are popular, which are trusted, which have got deep emotional bonds with consumers are likely to be the brands which will command much more loyalty as compared to brands which have been playing the game around disruption, pricing, and promotions. So there is going to be consumer shift in terms of brand loyalty and much more towards trust and dependability and credibility would be my take on it.
Okay, so you are seeing those virtues, holding strong for a lot of brands. Mr. Bali, what about the in-store experience? Things are going to change very drastically now. Do you think it's perhaps goodbye before you try now? That's going to be completely gone. In-store makeovers, testers. That was a big part of the shopping experience as well. So are things like beauty assistants going to become redundant? Are we going to see, a lot more safety, hygienic methods now being implemented?
I think in-store experience, obviously, as we look into retail, obviously we would like to ensure that the in-store experience remains good. And in fact, Sephora is known for that attitude that we want to make sure that the customer has the best time in every nook and corner of the store when they are there. So obviously, with these conditions, there would be certain restrictions in terms of social distancing. But I think try before you buy, I think will remain because we will be responsibly hygiene, conscious, and we make sure that all testers which are available in the store are sanitized before you use them. We will have single-use applicators which people can use rather than the common applicator. You use a single-use applicator, use it and throw it away. I think we'll have more the BAs will surely be there, but obviously there will be a certain distance between them and you and the customer. But they will be there to help you, in that journey to really find out where the product is. And even in terms of usage, it could be, they demonstrating it on themselves and you watching them how to use it, and then you learn it. So I think one of the key DNAs of Sephora is also that a great place to learn. So we would still be demonstrating on ourselves, on the BA, and showcasing how to use the product and how to create a look. So I think that the experience part would remain. Obviously, social distancing in the stores would be of prime importance, and we would maintain that at all areas, whether it's at the makeup station, whether it's at the respective brand counters, or whether it's at the cash till and contactless checkouts. I think all that would be part of the feature, as we open up.
So may I add to Vivek's comment?
Sure, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know exactly, Vivek, the point you made about try before you buy, that's becoming, that's always been critical for this category, and that's going to remain. In addition, I think what you will see is now the advent of virtual try-ons. Yeah. So, and I think Namrata has already touched on that briefly. Yeah, she's seeing a lot of traffic moving digitally. She spent the last month doing that. So we at L'Oreal have made a serious investment in this area as we go towards our evolution from being a beauty company to a beauty tech company. And now we've got Modiface, which actually allows consumers to take a selfie and then look at, you know, how the respective color cosmetic or hair color suits them. Yeah. And similarly, we are now also moving into the area of skin, which allows customization of skincare for consumers depending on, you know, their selfies. So I do believe to supplement the efforts of our partners such as Sephora, we would be able to, in the interim, as consumers are slightly apprehensive about physical try-ons, also supplement their efforts through augmented reality and various aspects of technology, which put the consumer in a space of trying their favorite color and product online, and then coming in and consuming online as well. So that should definitely help in the interim.
Can I say something? I was actually very lucky. I was actually very lucky to have tried this technology of L'Oreal at Cannes a few years ago, you know, where you take a picture and you can try different kinds of eyeshadow shapes and colors and foundations and lipsticks. And it was actually very fascinating because there was literally no touching. It's just that they take a selfie, you angle your face, and everything you want to do, you know, just comes in front of you and you can see how it looks on you. I think that's a great that's a great future for, you know, makeup brands. But also, like you said, virtual, just having swatches on actual real people to show the different, you know, types of skin tones in India, which is very, very important for us. Like, so if I'm servicing a client online and she would be like, okay, what is the L'Oreal foundation that I need to buy, or what is the Sephora foundation that I need to buy? Most of the times I need to be physically in front of that person to say, okay, I need to see what your undertone is, and then I can tell you it's 3W or NW or 6W. Here, when you have that SWOT system of actual physical different Indian skin tones in place for people to know what kind of skin tone they are, or what as similar as they could be to another person, it will really help them and give them that confidence in shopping online too, I feel.
That you guys spoke about, but you know, Mr. Jain, if I could talk about the hair care market, because you know that has been a bit different. If you'd be willing to talk about it, because hair color, you know, grooming for hair, all of that has grown very exponentially. We've seen people globally as well filling their carts with hair color. What kind of growth have you seen here, and do you think that maybe that would become a key focal point then?
Yeah. So let me put it this way. In India, you know, the lockdown is exactly 7 weeks old right now. It's too early to call the trend. So I'm not going to be presumptuous over here. However, if we look at our trends globally, it's very nicely summarized by the Walmart CEO, who's quoted to have said that after food and essential consumables, hair color is going on to the shopping carts next. Yeah. So what we are seeing in the markets which have now hit stage 3 and are beginning to open up, and hopefully that would be the precursor of what will happen over here in our markets, is we are seeing almost 50% growth in hair color. So which pretty much underlines the point that despite all the reprioritization and all the uncertainty which is surrounding consumers, hair color is a deep need. Yeah, it's not just a cosmetic, it's not an indulgence, it's a need, and consumers are flocking towards that as and when it becomes available. So hopefully we'll see a trend around that, like in India, where loyal consumers stay loyal to the category and to our brand, I hope.
Okay. Just wanted to get in a question then. Mr. Jain, do you think that smaller homegrown brands that are focused on only social media and online, are they going to perceive as a competitive threat? I know you spoke about brand loyalty earlier, but do you think that at a time like this, when everyone's a bit fickle and going for what's available, that is being perceived as a threat?
So, we've seen digital native brands doing rather well over the last few years. So that's not a new phenomena. But let's think about what's likely to happen as a result of the pandemic and how this will impact consumer behavior. So clearly, as consumers reprioritize their evaluative criteria in terms of how they choose brands, uh, health, hygiene, a brand I can trust becomes very critical. Similarly, natural organic ingredients, uh, uh, brands which are environmentally friendly and organizations which are sustainable in nature suddenly jump up the need ladder of consumers. So, it's not a question of small brands or big brands. It's about the purpose of the brand, and a lot is about the provenance of the organization which puts these brands around. Are they perceived to be credible, sustainable, environmentally friendly, especially the millennials and Generation Z? These are huge criteria for them. So yeah, if I had a word of advice for all these brands, and I'm delighted to see them come up so quickly and meet consumer needs, which maybe the big brands did not meet, is you'll have to be very, very focused on these emerging trends of consumers looking at sustainability and being far more natural in times to come.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Bali, we've got a question coming in from Nikita Jaswani. She says, how will beauty brands now balance sustainability with safety? With one-use applicators, additional packaging for safety, that's going to be some of the most important things. Will that be put on the back burner?
No, in fact, like Amit mentioned, sustainability is going to be, very important. And I think already, things are on the cards to launch products which are more sustainable, packaging which is more sustainable, even to the extent that hair brushes, which are more, organic and friendly. So I think that direction is already there. We are already seeing fantastic results in that in Sephora, in skincare, in brushes also. I think more and more ranges would be launched within the other categories at Sephora, including makeup. So I think that is here to stay, and I think that's the direction that the brands are taking, and so that's good because consumers have been demanding that uh, for a while, and I think now it's the right time that it comes in, and especially in markets today where health and well-being are becoming more important. Whether it's yoga or hair or exercise or or certain important ingredients. So in fact, ranges are being highlighted with super ingredients. Today, whether you take skincare, in cleansers, toners, moisturizers, serums, the core key ingredient, which is a super ingredient, is being highlighted to ensure that people get that. People are getting more and more conscious about it, and that obviously is going to be the trend, in the coming months and years.
Fair enough. Namrata, I'm going to jump in here and talk a little bit more about the future for makeup artists, etc. Because given that now we've seen you as well do a lot of tutorials, etc. Do you think that there could be a case that the makeup artists may start replacing beauty influencers in a sense?
I think people who have made a name for themselves and who have a reputation for being honest beauty bloggers, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. So I don't think that's something that they need to be scared about. I said it's more about having a voice which actually matters talking about the brands today. And I think that's been around now for a few years, like every brand, whether it's L'Oreal, whether it's, a Sephora, they're veering towards people who actually matter, who have a voice today, who can actually tell them, okay, that this is a good brand and this is why we support it. So I think it's, I don't think bloggers need to be scared, because there are some really, really good bloggers in our country who have a very good voice, and people I follow myself too.
Okay, fair enough. So still everyone's going to probably be in business, beauty influencers and makeup artists alike. Mr. Jain, what about supply side issues? We seem to be getting a lot of questions, and I'll possibly string it together. How are cosmetic companies and beauty companies right now balancing that demand and supply? Because there could be high demand, say, in one category that may be a lot more popular than another. So how are fulfillment centers, warehouses, the overall import challenge? How is that going?
Right. So let's be clear. Everything is led by regulations right now. Yeah. Okay. So very clearly, I think the government of India has been proactive about it. They've defined essential and non-essential categories. And essential is around basically washing, hygiene kind of products. And, obviously a lot of hair care, cleansers, etc. Fit over there. So over there, the supply chain did get disrupted for a few weeks, and now it's beginning to come back in. But of course, in fits and starts, and of course, a lot depends whether that particular geography is orange, green, or red. So the colors are really driving a lot of the supply chain. The non-essentials, as per the government, we don't agree, have a different story. And as Mr. Bali has already mentioned, right now, the malls and the big shopping complexes are shut. So there is a serious supply side issue over there. On the larger picture, if you zoom out, your question about ingredients, manufacturing. So, most of the Indian beauty companies, I think, have done a great job of localizing their supply chain. So speaking for L'Oreal India in particular, more than 90% of the products which we supply to consumers in India are made locally. And a lot of the ingredients, once again, are sourced locally. So we are a supply chain which is made in India, by India, for India. And to that extent, I do not see too many hiccups in that supply chain. However, brands which are relying on imported products, and there are, a lot of brands which are import dependent, especially in the luxury category, and we can understand because people like to buy made in France and made in USA. Over there, there are going to be some supply chain challenges as the global supply chains try to kick back in place. And we can anticipate a few hiccups there. But I think on the whole, most of the products which Indian consumers are used to buying, I believe the manufacturers are in a great position to bounce back fairly quickly.
Okay. An interesting question from an anonymous attendee. And I mean, whoever wants to take for this one forward, you can. Do you see brand advocacy taking a backseat with audiences becoming overly cautious and relying on their experience and knowledge in the current times? Now that want has become redundant and only needs are the vital need of the hour, how effective are ambassadors or endorsers words going to be, and what is going to be the business and the economic perspective of this? Mr. Jain, Mr. Bali, it's open to both.
I think Namrata is the best position to answer that. Huh? She's the diva of advocacy.
No, so I actually think we should all answer this in our own perspective. But I really feel that we need to be a lot of. So yes, like I was mentioning to you also, Avanne, yesterday when I spoke to you, that a lot of endorsements, like actually doing photo shoots and actually doing all of that is going to take a back seat right now. I feel at least till maybe September, October. So that means brands being able to shoot their campaigns, brands being able to, do any of that kind of stuff, which is what one of the highest selling points for a particular product. So if a new lipstick range is being launched, we are always looking for towards our actors or towards our celebrities to endorse those products. And I think right now, I think the brands will maybe have to look at bloggers, will maybe have to look at, makeup artists and bring out people from, their boxes of hidden boxes here and there to endorse their products. And I still feel it's really important that people whose voice matters, who have not been, like for me, I'm known to only talk about products that I believe in. I've always associated myself with that. I don't endorse 100,000 products. If I believe in a brand, I will be with that brand. If I love the product, I will use that product and talk about it. And I don't need to get paid to talk about it. So it's going to be, it's actually, I feel like the only part which is going to just take a backseat for a couple of months maybe will be the celebrity angle. But I think everything else will hopefully stay in place.
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to chip in? Because Namrata gave us her point of view. Mr. Jain or Mr. Bali, would you like to give in your perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, what I feel is that strong brands which have always been strong will obviously bounce back much faster. I think the consumer is going to stick to them. They're not going to leave them so easily. And I think price to quality ratio will also make a very important decision, because good pricing and good quality have always been related. So I think that will also, be in the consideration set of the consumer when they are buying. And I think the brands that continue to engage their consumer with new launches, new ways of using makeup or skincare, or finding the right fragrance, helping them find the right fragrance. I think these are the brands that are going to really, come back strong, as the market opens up. I think that's what I feel, is going to happen.
Okay. Mr. Jain, would you like to as well give us your perspective?
Well, I think it's been covered very well by Namrata
Sure.
and Vivek. All I'll add is that a piece of advice: we have to be very careful in terms of who those influencers and advocates are. So I believe that the brands are going to become very, very quality conscious, not just in terms of their ingredients, but those who are endorsing them. And I think Namrata has made that point, and I can only underline this much more. We are now headed for very, very intensive research on the provenance or the background of these influencers before we go ahead with any sort of association. So great point.
Okay. Fair enough. So you three seem to be echoing the same point. Mr. Jain, let's talk about even the digital strategy, because that's going to be something that's really going to be retweaked and a major focal point for companies. I'm going to get a little bit micro here, because while I'm still not on TikTok, I know a lot of people are on that platform. And they're talking about how brands can really make it big here. Is that a platform that you're looking at as well, or does the focus continue to remain on the others like Instagram, or is even some of the other newer platforms being adopted or looked at?
So, we go where the consumers are, let's be clear. And
everyone's on TikTok these days.
Well, let me put it this way. Consumers are spending, given the fact that the biggest screen, which is the cinema screen, has shut down, consumers have migrated to the other screens, which are their laptops and their mobile phones and their television sets over OTT, etc. So yeah, there is massive fragmentation of audience behavior over here. And yes, TikTok in particular is a big rage over there, especially among a class of consumers. So we do believe there are some very interesting tribes in digital speak, which are appealing to L'Oreal brands. And as a matter of fact, only a couple of months back, we had a very interesting partnership with TikTok for one of the brands, Maybelline in particular. And we were extremely pleased with the kind of innovation which TikTok offers in terms of consumer engagement. And yeah, it just brings alive the experience. So absolutely, L'Oreal believes in innovating along with consumers and talking to them in their medium. And in this case, why not? So clearly, the old faithfuls, or not so old actually, the young faithfuls like Insta, Facebook, YouTube, Google, etc., remain right up there. But we are very, very open to new mediums, and of course, our business in China works very closely with them, and now we're learning from them.
Please don't say old. You make me sound very old now
That's
for
why I
not
said the young
having son.
faithfuls. I corrected myself there.
Okay. Mr. Bali, I've got a question here from Bhavna Dhruv. She asks, how are retailers tiding over this period with cash flows being impacted? How do you see recovery post the lockdown?
Well, I think post during the lockdown, which is continuing now also, I think what we are doing is that primarily it's a great time to really retrain and train our cast, the Sephora cast, so that they are up to speed as we open up. So I think there are a lot of revisions happening in terms of training, in terms of reminding them of our DNAs, our values, our attitude, and also taking them through the new products and ranges that are coming through, and so that they are trained. Most trainings are happening on Zoom or Google Hangouts, so that everybody logs in, and at home they are getting trained, and each one of them is enjoying that part. Earlier trainings used to be like a typical, either in-store training or in a theater seating kind of an environment. Today they're sitting at home and getting the training. I think we are keeping them engaged. The staff is learning a lot. We are doing a lot of skill set development in terms of what to do when you are faced with a certain situation in the store, and how to do it. Those kind of things are becoming important for them at this stage. And I think in terms of making sure that once we open up, we are responsibly ready, to receive the customer, so that they again, get a very good experience in the store. So those are certain operating procedures that are being developed, and again, the staff is being trained on that to make sure that there is unhindered service to the customer when they come to the
Right.
stores. So that's what is happening right now. Yes, I think cash flows are down for everybody. I think whether it's a brand or a retailer or a department store or anybody. So I think, but you have to come out stronger. You're looking at every aspect of your expenditure and making sure that you become leaner, and you tighten the belt now so that you are much fitter when you start running as the market opens up.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hit the ground running, I'm sure. That's everyone's request as well when it comes to Sephora.
I can't wait for
Namrata,
Sephora to open to actually do online shopping a little bit, because I need some products. And every week I'm checking, has it opened? Has the online shopping opened? Are they delivering? It's because at the end of the day, yes, we are, like, as women, like even, Mr. Amit Jain said, and, how Mr. Vivek Bali said, that we are always going to want to, dress up, whether it's our hair, whether it's our eyes, whether it's our skin. As women, we are always going to take that step, even at home, sitting and doing a Zoom call, or even at home sitting and chatting with our friends on Hangout. We want to get slightly dressed up and do it. So yes, spending a lot less money in comparison to before, but honestly, like, the way I'm preparing myself is by, I've always been that person, but just making sure that everything is sanitized between each and every use. Having alcohol 99 alcohol swab 99 swabs and sprays to put on your products between every use, on your brushes between every use. Wearing masks, or makeup artists wearing masks. Unfortunately, we can't wear gloves because we work with our hands, but making sure that we do all of this in front of our clients so that they feel happy and secure that, okay, they are taking the precautions to make sure that we are going to be safe around them. So I think that is a very big step, and it's going to have to come into play, because I remember going on shoots and seeing younger makeup artists and seeing how messy their kits used to be and how untidy and dirty the makeup rooms used to be. I think that is going to have to change today. The cleanliness factor in our country is going to have to really, change, because that is the one thing. I would go into a vanity van and there would be unhygienic, so I think that step, every single, whether it is actually a vanity van doing it or it's a production house doing it, I think the brand itself or the person itself entering that space is going to be very conscious about.
Yeah, and you're right about the wanting to put makeup, and people in our profession, we're getting our makeup on every single day, and even for this webinar, I did make sure that I have my makeup intact. Namrata, I have you to impress. But I'm gonna, I want to dwell on that point. You were talking about how women will continue to want to do this. So do you think that there's going to be now a trend of, say, going a little more minimal with your makeup? If you have a mask when you're stepping outside, say only focus on the eyes? Or
for sure.
Do you think,
so if you could just talk about
some of the trends.
I think the eye makeup trends are definitely, it's going to be all about the eyes. I think for maybe just till, end of the year, people love their lipsticks. I love lipsticks. It's definitely going to come back. I think the next trend is going to be transparent masks. You never know. And you're going to wear a bright lipstick through that mask. You never know what, and I'm sure L'Oreal and Sephora will come up with it. When we enter the store, they will give us these beautiful transparent masks, which are sanitized and healthy and will take care of us, and we'll still be able to see all the beautiful makeup that we wear. So you never know who is inventing and innovating. And honestly, eyes are a very big asset in Indian women. Like, I think we always veer towards darker colors in lipsticks because we are a little bit more conscious about our skin color. But kajal has, I think, always been one of the biggest selling factors in our country. And I think, I remember when I used to be with L'Oreal also, the Colossal with Maybelline and just the kajal pencils and the mascaras of L'Oreal, which were fantastic and are fantastic. My God, like, we used to create looks. Till date, I literally only use the L'Oreal gel pot for every single bride of mine. So, I mean, that is never going to go away, whether you do a smoky eye or whether you do just kajal inside your eyes. Indian women speak through their eyes. It's our eyes that do the talking. So I don't think I think it's just going to get accentuated, and people are just going to get a little bit more confidence wearing that eye makeup. So I think as a makeup artist and as brands across that's Sephora and L'Oreal, giving people ideas as to how they can dress themselves up in quick, easy ways with minimal products is going to make a very, very big difference. Like for me, when I'm doing my online classes, the only thing I'm teaching is smoky eyes right now.
I'm sure right now Mr. Bali and Mr. Jain are both heaving a sigh of relief and wiping their brows to hear such an endorsement from you. Mr. Jain, you're on mute.
I think you need to unmute it, Avanne.
Yeah.
You can also do it.
Yep, exactly. You're the boss over here. So if I may add to the point which Namrata was making, yes, obviously, eyes are going to talk louder. And that is the new L'Oreal campaign. But let's not forget that, the kind of cosmetic sales we have in the Middle East, with all the abayas and all this gear and equipment, let's not forget that our consumers very often make up for themselves and not just to show it to public. And I think Avanne just made
great point. Yeah.
So I'd not be too hasty in terms of writing off, face and lips as
Never.
because I do believe that, women are going to make up for themselves and just to feel good. And, think about it this way, beauty is eternal. It's been around there for 100,000 years. We in L'Oreal have just been there for 110 out of the 100,000. And all these crises come and go. But the reality is the beauty category is something which keeps going in one direction, which is up. So it's such a fundamental human need after the, the basic needs in the Maslow hierarchy, which is around feeling good about yourself. So yes, there will be mass, and yes, there will be a demand for smudge-free lipsticks, which don't, soil the mask, etc. Things like that. But fundamentally, consumers will want to feel good about themselves, and that cardinal need is not going to go away.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I endorse that also. I think what will happen is categories that are there which have been built over the years and people have been using it, like face makeup is very big for us in Sephora, followed by eyes and lips. And I think that is going to remain. Consumers who have been using a lipstick will continue to use, I mean, it's not that, if I've got to wear a mask, that I don't wear a lipstick, but they will find ways to, uh, you know, uh, wear those lipsticks. So I think that is going to remain. I think importantly, what happens is that, like Amit said, that beauty has been there for years. Uh, Basically, I think what we had done a research and which came out very clearly, which said that makeup is a mood changer, a mood enhancer.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is that whether you are happy or whether you are sad, you would use makeup to change your mood. And I think that is going to remain. And I think a lot of women love sitting in front of the mirror and trying different looks. And this is the time. And this is the time when we are actually, if you go to our social media, you will see that we are really
Yeah.
talking about the mini flash makers that we used to do in the stores are now coming on social media so that you
Yeah.
can sit at home and learn those looks, how we create the smoky eyes, the night smoky, the 4K contouring, you know, I mean, flawless foundation. I think these are things that are going to become important for people to learn sitting at home and then try it on themselves. And I think what we are seeing is that when you look at the young millennials today, I think their working patterns have changed because they're all working from home. They are sleeping late, getting up late. I think they're spending a lot of time on skincare also now
Yep.
because they are getting time to do skincare. But obviously, basic routines like cleansing, toning, moisturizing are getting used quite a bit. But I
Yeah.
think what they're learning the new tricks of contouring and smoky eyes, like Namrata mentioned, and I think they're trying that out, at home
Yeah.
because they have that much more time. Hair care is another category which is getting a lot of importance because people were on the move. People were in a rush. They were not spending enough time on hair oils and shampooing and conditioning, which today they're doing. A lot of masks are being used at home. They have enough time in their hands to really try these products for the duration that it is required, rather than doing a
Yeah.
straight job. So I think
Yeah.
a lot of those things are
Sure.
going to remain. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Bali, while we are quite positive about all of those factors, let's also talk about now what the growth strategy is for a company that is in, purely in retail and in malls. Business and, rethinking your growth strategy is definitely going to be on top of mind, I'm sure. And we're getting a lot of questions pouring in as well. So now in terms of expansion plans, is that going to go on hold in terms of physical stores for Sephora? Are you only going to be managing your existing ones? Are you going to look at more digital uh, transformation now? What is the strategy for the second half of this year and the next?
Well, I think there is a disruption for sure, right now because, obviously we're going to be losing this quarter, April, May, June, primarily. Then once you open up, you'll see that, we would require some more time to really gear up and make sure that our new store opening plans get back on track. So opening plans will always remain on the cards. I think it's a deferment that is going to happen, because of this lockdown. But otherwise, I think we'll be fairly strong in terms of our opening plans. They could be deferred by a few months here and there.
Okay.
Also, what was going to happen is that the stores that we have opened currently, we are fairly well spread across cities and across the geography of India to cater to those customers who are shopping. Our online business obviously is strong, will become more stronger, and I think that emphasis is already there. We are the only company that is actually giving an omni experience on the luxury side of the business to our customers. Where you can sit at home and shop online, you can come to the
Yeah.
store, and we actually, when you come to the store, you can also, if you don't find a product in that particular store, It can be ordered from the other store, which will deliver to your house. So I think all those facilities are already existing,
Yeah.
but you're right, digital will
Sure.
become much more stronger and will reach out more to the consumer, or consumer can reach out to us much faster.
Okay, how time has flown. It's 6:18 on the clock. So let's get in some closing comments from all of you. Mr. Jain, on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly has the cosmetics industry been hit? And are you going to be taking any major drastic budget cuts? And what's the, your sum of the future now for the industry?
So yeah, clearly, like I mentioned before, we've had a closure of critical channels for a couple of months, and this quarter is likely to be seriously impacted. So it is very, very obvious that we have tightened our belts, and with the products not going into the supply chain, with most of our channels shut down, it stands to reason that we've throttled back on media largely. Yeah. So that is the flexibility which this sector affords widely distributed, consumer brand companies. So we throttle back on media, and that really helps us prepare and save these budgets for when the market bounces back and when availability is there. So we see this definitely as an unwelcome hiccup into what is in the medium term a very, very definitive growth strategy for L'Oreal in India. So we had a global CEO visit us a few months back, and he set up an ambition grow 2x by 2022. So we are wedded to that mission, and we have to now look at innovation and strategies which help us make up this gap which has happened over this quarter and maybe a little bit into the next. And innovation is going to be key, both in terms of categories as well as channels and go to market. So we'll have to follow the consumer very quickly as they change their habits, as they change their shopping behavior. L'Oreal brands would need to be there very close to the consumer, talking to them and understanding their evolving needs.
Okay. Mr. Bali, what about you in terms of what you see as the biggest challenge for the consumer industry, the biggest change for the consumer industry, as well as what is going to be now, the future growth plan?
Well, I think most importantly, it will be how safe is the environment for me to go and shop. That is important. I could today go and buy a certain product from a certain store because I know it's coming from a fantastic brand. But hygiene will play an important role. Today to decide where I go and shop. So I think that's the way consumers is going to look. Even if it is in terms of digital or e-commerce deliveries, I think you need to make sure that they are fairly hygienic when they are delivered to the customer, because it's going to change a lot of hands, before it reaches the customer. Whether it comes from the warehouse, it goes to the store, it goes from the store or to the courier, from the courier to the center, and then from the center it gets distributed, to the consumer. So it's changing a lot of hands. So how do we make this journey short? I think what is going to happen is that brands like us, which have retail distribution, it will be important to ensure that the lead time in deliveries becomes shorter, so that no multiple hands are, picking the same pack and delivering. Make sure that your packaging is, the delivery packages are much more robust in terms of delivery to the customer and is safe. I think those are the things that are going to play an important role for consumer also to decide from where to buy. So secondly, in terms of store, how safe you feel, how comfortable you feel in shopping. I think that environment has to be set up by, the retailer to ensure that consumer, really feels safe. And I think categories that will emerge in this also is that, like Amit mentioned in the beginning of the message, is that sanitizer will become a bigger category. I mean, which means that, a sanitizer will not just be used on a hand, but it could be a hand and body, a kind of sanitizer. And I think that could be an emerging category. That's what we feel, in the future, as we see it. So I think that's the way we look at it. I think the retailer that will win, the retailer or the brand that will win, will be the brand that not only looks at the consumer, on social media, the same consumer on their CRM, and the same consumer on their e-commerce site, and gives that and understands that consumer behavior and delivers to that behavior.
Okay. Namrata, let's get in your take as well. Staying in is now the new going out. Even once these restrictions do get lifted, I think people will be, more home-centric. There'll be that desire to even save money, persistent safety concerns, of course, and then this kind of a newfound pleasure that we're seeing in nesting or staying in. So what do you see as some of the new beauty trends? Do you think that there's going to be more focus on DIYs or herbal, Ayurvedic treatments, or even sanitizers, as Mr. Bali spoke of?
Definitely sanitizers. I think brands need to become a little bit more, sensitive to actually making sanitizers which are safe to use on or spray on makeup products. Like for me, when I have an academy, it is very difficult for me to even find alcohol 99 in India. I have to literally go to a chemist. And I don't mean a local chemist. I have to go to someone who manufactures it and get liters of it and stock it up, because it's not easily available in our market. You get hand sanitizers, but those are not things that I can actually put on my makeup products, because, they have different kinds of ingredients in it, which might spoil my eyeshadows or might spoil my kajal pencils. So I think brands will have to become a little bit more conscious in supplying either small little bottles of it or spray bottles of it, or giving the option for the client to pick it up from the store or online, which I think is extremely important today. And I also think that we, as makeup artists, we are going to be quite redundant for a few months, which is okay. But I think DIYs will definitely make a big, they've always been there. People are always looking at home remedies for a lot of things. But honestly, it is the brands that you trust the most that you will keep going back to. Like for me, I will keep going back to a Sephora and a L'Oreal because I know the quality of the products that they are supplying to me as an artist. I know where the products are coming from, the kind of ingredients, the kind of, everything that is in the product. So I know how long it's going to last me. Everything is very clearly written on the packaging. So there's no room for error for me over there as an artist. So I know that I can be safe if I'm going to a Sephora India, because I know that, they are serious enough to take those precautions and want people to come to their stores. Like I don't think anybody after June or July is, however much we love nesting, we are going to want to step out. And for women, it is going to be, let's go to Sephora or let's go to the mall because we need our, essentials. And for women, yes, oil and castor sugar and all of that is essential to eat. But for us survival, essential is our skincare and our kajal pencils and our mascaras. And how much ever online shopping may be around, I still want that physical. Why do we go to these spaces? It's for that physical contact. I don't mean touching someone, just that experience of having someone with that knowledge tell you that, okay, this is what is going to work for you, and just getting to meet different people. And so I just feel like it is all going to come back in slowly. So I don't see makeup artists actually starting work before September. Honestly, that's what I'm feeling. Seeing the market and seeing everything, like even the bridal industry, we are only getting bookings starting from October. Till then, everything is at a standstill. Nobody's making any bookings. Everybody who's asking for bookings before that is always saying that it's tentative. Because we don't know what the government guidelines are going to be and what we will have to follow in terms of, how many people can be together in a certain space. So I think, the minute the lockdown gets over, I'm definitely making a trip out to Sephora if it's open.
As soon as we possibly can. So I think the clear message is that it's going to be survival of the fittest. Digital will be a clear growth strategy. And, the companies that have focused on retaining their consumers and focusing now more on quality will continue to thrive. Slowly but surely, this too shall pass, and we will see the thriving beauty and cosmetics industry limp its way back to normalcy. Mr. Jain, Mr. Bali, and Namrata, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. And I also want to thank all of the participants. I mean, it's been 1 hour and we still have nearly 400 people. So thank you all. I know you've all asked a lot of questions. So try to take as many as I possibly could. It's been a lovely, engaging conversation with you all, and I hope to connect with you very soon. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Avanne.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to all the participants. Take care.
Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Namrata and Vivek.